Douglas, what are you doing? Come on, Douglas, what are you doing?
Well, good morning. This is a update video because I have not posted anything on my channel for, I don't know, 6 months maybe. And the reason why is remodeling the basement. I had made a promise to myself earlier this year that I would finish remodeling the basement rather than work on trains, or at least not totally devoted to it. So there's been very little activity on doing railroad updates or railroad layout construction. Uh, I've done some other things also. I think I got a little burnt out over the time period of COVID because I was working on it a lot when I was home. And but the thing that drove the finishing up the remodeling was basically a misunderstanding. And it's kind of a funny little story. My wife and I bought this house in 2017, and immediately basically demolished the basement area because there was about 9 rooms down here. Half the basement became the layout room. The other half basically sat here, just bare floors and walls and wasn't really finished. We had a kitchen downstairs also. So the house, when I bought it, the downstairs or the basement was treated as an apartment, and they rented it out, and it had a full kitchen. Well, we both had kind of agreed back after we moved in that the kitchen downstairs was probably a good idea. We had a family reunion coming up, and we had our wedding here shortly after we bought the house. And so we both misunderstood because I didn't, I thought she wanted the kitchen downstairs, and she thought I wanted the kitchen downstairs, and actually neither one of us wanted the kitchen downstairs, or neither one of us cared. So for a good almost 4 years, I'd done nothing in this side of the basement because I was waiting for the kitchen to get emptied by her, and then I was going to go ahead and remodel the kitchen and start from the kitchen and go out. Well, for whatever reason, we had a discussion in February that enlightened each of us that neither one of us cared about the kitchen. And at that point, I said, I need to finish remodeling the basement, and I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to just do the minimum on the layout and just work on remodeling the basement. So I've done most of that. I've probably got another month or 2, maybe 3 to finish it, and I will still not devote much time to doing videos or anything for the layout, but I need to get it done because it just bothers me when it's not done. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of that, and we'll go look at the layout again because I've done some things, I just haven't done a lot of work on a layout. So this is the actual entrance to the basement that comes through the garage. And I'm just going to slowly turn around here. There's a painting I had commissioned of the Maine Central by Pete Lero Jr. I got another one being worked on now. I'll show you that in a minute. Another Pete Lero Jr. That's a print there. I always bought this thing, and these are all old Maine Central locomotives I did in high school and after high school. It's a lot of Athearn blue box models there that I did up. There's 2 U-18Bs which were made by cutting shells and putting them back together before they came out with the U-18Bs at actually one of them is actually a Lionel U-18B, and the other one is a Athearn U-23B that was shortened to make a U-18B. But they don't run very well. They're older. They got the wide hoods, so they all go up in there. And I got a 44 tonner from Bachman. That thing was, I hadn't made DCC, but it just won't run, so it goes to shelf. And then I've got 2 consolidations. One's a Bachman and one's a BLI. And there's not a lot of art about the Maine Central, or of the Maine Central, but here's another painting I found, and this is from Andy Romano, and it's got the 682 serving passengers, kind of a generic, but it's neat. And then we have more wall space for more railroad art as time goes along. And this is the main, well, I guess will be the crew area once we get finished. I've put new flooring down in here. I've redone most of the walls. There was actually 3 rooms over here in this area I'm showing you now. There's a wet bar, and one thing I did with a wet bar is I have built it using the excess doors that I had from the house, and door trim, and this is all door parts, and then the sink that came out of the kitchen I demolished. So I'm in the progress of doing that. I put it, you know, this bathroom downstairs is also, the bathroom was originally here, but I've shortened it and made it isolated. And we'll go back this way. And then we have my office, or hobby room, I guess you're going to call it, because I was doing it upstairs in the entryway in the back of the house, and it was just a mess up there all the time. So I'm still organizing here, but there is some model railroading going on here. You don't realize it. That right there, that framework is going to be Lewiston Upper, or the yard in Lewiston Upper. It's on the back road, so that will be more Maine Central. And underneath it, I'm going to build a display case, and that'll be another project. It has to get done pretty early on. And I need a display case because not only do I do model railroad, I do ship models, and I do aircraft models, and I actually do armor models. I'm basically a modeler. There's a B-58 Hustler that's waiting to get its basic bare metal coating on it, which I need good weather for. And part of rebuilding down here was to get that bathroom so I could actually run a paint booth out of it. Now this is a nice little diorama made here that has the USS Missouri being refueled by a tanker in World War II. It was a lot of fun making that. So again, a U-boat model I built years ago. My last day at sea when I was in the Navy was on the USS Chicago, and we were coming into San Diego Harbor, so I made a model of that because we came up behind two gray whales, and those gray whales, nobody saw them except for me. And I said, hey, you know, we might want to slow down and go around those gray whales. But anyway, it was just an interesting experience on my last day at sea before I retired from the Navy, and I made a diorama out of that. But I have a lot of my stuff in here. I just need to get organized better. The other thing that's going to go over here underneath these display cases is going to be drawers to put stuff in. And then my new workbench. This was upstairs, and I brought it down here, so it's still the same workbench I was using upstairs, but now it's down here, and now it's fully involved in modeling. And I'm actually right now working on an Air National Guard, Maine Air National Guard F-101B Voodoo, in between doing other things. So now for the train room update portion of the thing. Again, like I said, I haven't stopped all work on the railroad, I've just minimized it. So this was one area that needed to be scenic, and I've built all these houses from kits to put in there, and now I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to be settling those in there and making them part of the actual scenery. Still need to buy a piece of mirror to fit in there to make a reflection so that when you look at the road you'll see it coming back. And then on the rest of this end of the layout here, most of the scenery is done except there's this one area over here. Now this area right here is either going to be Elmet when I'm in the 60s operating time, or it's the wood panel mill near Lisbon Falls when I'm in the 70s era. But I've still got to finish that bit of scenery there, and the rest of it is right along the edge of the layout here. I've got all these structures to build that I won't put on the layout when I'm operating, because we had an incident with this structure down here, which is part of the Bates Mill complex, when somebody was trying to get his cars out from behind here from the loading docks and hit it several times and got angry, and I was like, okay, that doesn't stay up, because it just basically lifts right off. And then you can see the cars there and operate. So rather than have people frustrated when they're operating, I just take the building off. The building here is more for viewing, for photographs and stuff. But there's a whole line of them that go down that way, so that when you take a shot down here, you'll actually see the canyon that was Lewiston Lower. Other areas to finish is the Yarmouth Junction. Again, this is one of the first areas I didn't lay out, but probably will be one of the last areas scenic, because I have to finish doing the Cabusa-Conti branch up here. Now this is supposed to be T.W. Dix steel, and it's been sitting here since I built it and sat it there. And I scaled it to be the height of the actual T.W. Dix building, but it's too tall right now for the length of the building. So I'm going to basically, I don't know if I can take the thing apart because I've done quite a bit of gluing on it. But I think I'm going to take this building and lower it about at least 3/4 of its height,
and maybe down to half its height, just so it looks better. Just right now, it just does not fit the scenery. And then obviously around here, I've got the distributor, Harvey Distributors. I've got the paper mill, the first paper mill, York Paper. And then I have a hardware distributor over here, which is named after my dad. So that's all right. There's nothing really to see down that aisle because I've got some stream scene down here, and I guess I might show you that since we're doing this tour. There's a stream scenes that I've done here, but on the upper level, I've got this waterfall coming down through here, and it comes down to a stream, and there's supposed to be a tree here and people swimming and stuff like that. I've got to finish that. I just poured some of that realistic water down there and let it settle, but a lot more work to do in just that one little scene, but it'll get done eventually. The other part here is at Hollowell. I've got basically the granite cutting sheds need to be scratch built, and I've just put a little basically a shape in there to where it is right now, but that needs to be finished. And then there's a few more trees I want to put up here in Hollowell, and it's also got this bridge needs to be installed, so I've got to build that. And then the last major unfinished area is basically Augusta right here, and it's the actual town portion. So I've got all the buildings in. I just need to finish up the scenery part and just put people and stuff like that, put the cross books at the crossings, and then this will be done. But I've got to get that done. And then I have to go over here and finish. There's one more building that has to go in here. So I've got Kennebec Spirits, which is this building right here, which is a false or front building. It's supposed to, what I did is I put a actual 3D portion of it in the front there, the rain gutter and then the thing, but it'll say Kennebec Spirits on it eventually. And then we have the Kennebec Journal, which is going to be in this empty spot here. I need to finish up the scrap yard, and then I'm going to paint on this panel here in the backdrop so that you have some scenery there behind. And then I just need to finish up this end of Statler tissue. And then at the very end over here, I've got some scenery to do around here so that when you're sitting here and you're operating, you'll actually see the train come off the helix, and it'll come by, you know, trees and stuff like that and kind of hide. You can see the helix right there behind it. And then again, I have to finish the upper before I start the lower. So here's East Brunswick, and I need to get this finished. And over here we have the very end of Brunswick West Yard. So the last thing I have to do is make Farrell's manufacturing building that'll stand in right here, and because it's very noticeable, and obviously scenic around these last couple of houses that I've built that need to be installed. So again, I'm still here. Nothing's happened to me. I've just had priorities set that number one, getting the other side of the basement done, because I just was tired of it not being done. And I've done a couple op sessions this year, but I really haven't been doing those. I could have done a lot more, but I've been working on the other side of the basement, and work with COVID going away, I've started traveling again a bit. So, you know, when you're out of town frequently, it's hard to concentrate on the railroad. Anyway, I'll be back. I'll be doing more videos, and we'll be doing more op videos. Just want to give you guys an update. Hello, Doug. Got an itchy ear? Everybody good things? Oh, bless you. Baka Bear, what you doing? Chewbacca, come here. Come here, Chewbacca. How you doing? All right, Doug, I see you there too. Yeah, I acknowledge your existence. Yep, you're there.